Hello, my beautiful viewers. I'm not sure what happened, but our opening video didn't play. And then our beautiful video with Dr. Beverly is did play. So I am truly excited. We are here today and we've got an amazing spotlight author. I cannot wait to introduce beautiful Dr. Beverly with all of you. Then I also see we have a few diamond beauties that have also dialed in. So welcome. We are live and you are welcome to give us some love comments. So my beautiful Dr. Beverly, we're going to start off with you and then I'm going to ask you to introduce yourself and then I'm going to go to Krista, our Rosebud, and then our Miracle Man, and then Laura. They will introduce themselves and then ask your first question. So my beautiful Dr. Beverly, please introduce yourself and tell us just a snippet, not a snippet, but your book's name and just a snippet of your book.
I'm Dr. Beverly Wixon, and I'm in Florida, and my book is called Get Rich on Any Salary because I did it as a school teacher in the lowest paying state in the nation. And I don't know what else to say. That's what the book's about, is how to live a rich life, a life of richness. And it's not all about money, but there is a lot about money.
I love that. And there is so many golden nuggets in your book where you explain. I love it. I love it. So I'm gonna go over to my beautiful Rose, but please introduce yourself and then ask your first question, my beautiful Krista.
Absolutely. First of all, thank you so much for allowing us to read your book. I found it so inspirational. I'm so excited to dive into it. But yes, my name is Krista Rose. I'm coming from Ontario, Canada. And I'm a multi-number Amazon #1 best-selling author. I have to say the name of my book because it's part of my intro. Skip the pain, experience a pleasure. Here we go. Cut the crap that's holding you back so you can live the life you love. And that's basically what we're talking about, is letting go of the things that are holding us back. I'm also an international speaker. I'm going to be speaking in Romania in a few months. I'm an energy worker, Reiki master. And basically, I'm here to help other people elevate themselves in any way. And I do this as being an earth angel. So welcome. And I'm very excited to talk about your book. So I'm going to go right to my first question, because this question is more than only money. I can use this tool in any area of our life. And that's what I want the listeners to know. So it's the word gratitude. So when you say thank you, when you are grateful for things, more things come into your life. And so when you're talking about your money beliefs and money in general, you really focused on gratitude kind of throughout your book. And I know for myself, there's a saying I say, or I have in my books, or I just kind of live by, is what you have may be someone else's dream. So always be grateful. So sometimes we live in a place of lack. We don't have enough. We think, we complain, we don't have enough. You talked a little bit about the words we use. So if you can tell the listeners and the viewers, who I know is just dying to hear more about this book because they want to get rich on any salary, how gratitude fits into that.
Gratitude is the fastest path to happiness. And happiness brings you joy, and it brings you a life of richness. And it increases everything. I know there was a time when I wasn't being so grateful. And I can remember getting up and saying things like, I was like, okay, I'm going to be grateful today. So I'm grateful for the oxygen I breathe because you know what? It keeps me alive. I'm grateful for the water coming out of the tap because, and you know what? Everybody along the line, because that keeps me alive. I mean, I truly, when I'm having a really bad day, that's where I go, because that was what I first started doing when I realized that I thought I was grateful, but I wasn't saying. And I think it's important to say thank you. You find a penny in the street, pick it up and say thank you. Put it in your pocket. You find a $20 bill in your pocket, pick it up and say thank you. It's very important to always say it. And I liken it to giving gifts, here on earth. If we're giving gifts to people and they never say thank you, do we really want to keep giving them? And we start to feel taken advantage of. And not that I think the universe feels that way, and not that we say thank you to get more, but it's just the right thing to do. And it makes us see more. When we're grateful for something, we see more of it come to us because that's where our focus is.
I absolutely love that. And I love that you even pointed out something, and I'm not going to say as small, but or the value of a penny. So many people will walk by a penny. Where I am in Canada, we don't even have pennies. They took away pennies, but I understand what you mean. So instead of walking by it, being grateful for that penny will just bring more and more abundance to you. So fantastic answer. Thank you so much. Laura.
Thank you.
I think we were going to go to Howard next, but thank you, Rosebud. Go ahead, Howard. Go ahead.
No problem. So welcome, Dr. Beverly. Thrilled that you're here. We're really excited to dive into your book, give it some exposure, have you tell us why you really felt like this was such a needed resource for yourself and for others. And but I'm known as Howard Brown. I am Mr. Shining Brightly. So I wrote Shining Brightly is my best-selling novel on Amazon, but I'm also a award-winning international speaker, and I have a top podcast. And we all fall down in life, and this is about falling down. You speak to that in the book. We all have to learn how to get back up again. And one of the biggest values that you have is to be able to pick yourself up and then go show someone else how to do it. And I really appreciate that in your book. You show people how to do it. And that's a great value. And I want to tell you that that's a big appreciation that I took out. My question is, why are people afraid to save? Why is it the biggest fear that they will go spend on a taco, but they aren't going to pay their rent?
That's a great question. I know, it's amazing. I think we all get into this thing with society that we're supposed to spend and spend and spend. And we don't even think about the savings. Plus the fact that, I know for me, when I was a teacher, I did not grow up hearing I'm broke. I did not grow up hearing I can't afford. But the day I started teaching, I heard it. And then I fell right in line with everybody else that I couldn't afford. And my spending habits were crazy at that time. I mean, I would go buy the taco because, well, that's what everybody did. We just stopped and bought taco. Who wants to eat at home? And that's what I was spending all my money eating out. And everybody else was too. And once I slowly started to change, just by stopping saying I'm broke and I can't afford, I did not start a budget. I don't like budgets. I never intentionally said, I'm going to stop eating out. But it happened. Yeah. When I quit saying I'm broke and I can't afford, and I started changing my words, all those things just stopped. So I think a lot of it has to do with our words, our mind, our mindset that we're supposed to be moving the economy forward. We're supposed to be spending money. We're not supposed to do anything at home. We're supposed to be running here and running there, and we're supposed to always stay broke. And I think that's why people don't save. They just feel like they can't because they're too busy spending it on non-essentials and things that aren't moving them forward in life.
The taco tastes better 2 weeks, not every day. So I appreciate that so much. it's very important what you say, and it becomes a mindset, and it is learnable, it is doable, and I appreciate you sharing that. Thank you. I will hand it over to our life force, LBB, Laura Ballet.
Thank you. Thank you. Hello, Dr. Beverly. I already know there's an inside joke with the family here. We steal each other's questions because we're so like-minded. And I don't even know which direction to go in because I have a lot of them. And one thing I'm going to say to the listening audience is what's really unique about the book, and I find pretty cool about the book, is it isn't just about money. And this is what I love because it isn't, right? Nothing truly in life is about money. It's all of this other stuff we put around it. But money is the matrix that we're all living in. We need it. And it becomes, right, this driving force. But there's some really beautiful kind of action steps and formulas and systems that you share throughout the book. So I just want the audience to know that this book is applicable to so many other areas in life that will help you attract more financial, I think, fluidity, as you call it.
Give us a quick intro there, LBB.
Oh, yeah, you know me. I am Laura Brennan Ballet. I am a thought energy specialist. A mindset development is my passion. So I picked that up in your book. Just landed international #1 best-selling author, Amazon 3 time. Yes, so cool. And I'm a lover of writing and storytelling. Thank you, fam. And we all just love to travel around the globe in this virtual environment and really empower not only ourselves, but one another. And so this is the beauty of having you here. So I'm going to go into this area that I love because we have a little bit of similarities in our writing. I use negative, positive, neutral. It's the formula of how I coach. But you talk about the language progress tracker. And I think this is absolutely an empowerment tool at its best. So without giving too much away, and I know we were talking about mindset already, language has an energy to it. What we speak, right, to ourselves affects the mindset development as well as how we feel about the experiences we're going through. What is something that you can maybe gift to the audience without, going too far about tracking the language and the progress of moving, recalibrating from that negative talk to a more neutral to positive mindset that will help us maybe align a little bit more with pulling in money when needed?
Well, I suggest like a 5 minute reflection every night because that's a great question too. You guys have great questions.
Mm-hmm.
If we look back every night when we're going to bed, things start running through our minds and keeps us awake. So if you just take 5 minutes and do it intentionally and think, okay, how is my day with my language? And if you have a phrase that you're trying to get rid of, like mine was, I can't afford. How many times did I say it today? Did I say it today? And invariably in the beginning, you're going to remember that you did. And then you're going to go, well, don't beat yourself up. Just check it off. Okay, I said it once today. Nice. And then think what could I have said instead? You might have that little conversation again in your head real quick for those 2 or 3 minutes. And then the next time you're going to notice you didn't say it. And as you're tracking it, you're going to notice that you say it less and less. And eventually you're going to catch yourself as it's starting to come out of your mouth. And you're going to stop. And when you reflect on that later, it's like, yes. And you can start cheering for yourself because you didn't say it. And then all of a sudden, you're going to be at night going, oh, I didn't say it. Oh, I didn't say it. And then you can click that one off and move to the next one. And then you'll hear somebody else say it. And you'll go, I haven't said that in, gee, I wonder when the last time I said that was. And it's such a great feeling that you can just smile and go, and walk away. Or you can actually tell them if you want to. I've had that where I had a friend say they couldn't afford something, and I went, I could. And 2 of my friends, looked at me like, what? I went, well, I don't want it, so I'm not going to spend the money on it, but I certainly could afford that if I wanted to. So, and then they realized, oh yeah, I guess I could afford it. So it's nice that at that, you get to a point that you can start helping other people without seeming obnoxious.
This is what I loved about this. And again, it's a recalibration skill. But for those of us that aren't very aware of how language affects what we're experiencing, this is what I loved about it. And the simplicity of taking 5 minutes and just reflecting back. What's the story I continue to tell myself that's keeping me stuck? And when you start to really hone in on that awareness, and then I'm so glad that you brought that up, when you start to see it in others, there's a compassionate and a gentle way to empower yourself, because now you're recognizing it in someone else, which is yourself, the reflection. Now you get to empower the conversation with that person and let them know, I used to say that. I don't have that belief or that thought process anymore. So I think this is a real empowerment tool for the listening audience. Thank you. Miss Sinette.
Oh, thank you, my beautiful life force. So we've got Gail to say hello, everyone. Krista, no, she. And then we speak into existence. Thank you so much, my beautiful love bug. So, first of all, Dr. Beverly, I love that you have an opening statement or opening gift. I download your beautiful meditation on money. Thank you for that. And then I'm going to ask my first question. I just quickly want to scroll down. For me, when I was working, I received a lot of money where I worked. I spent a lot. And then in December 2020, I was retrenched. I cannot tell you how my spending, taking my mindset in making sure to be a stewardship of the pension now I receive from my work, it's totally different. But when I was reading, I was seeing so many of my points that I have done and how I changed my mindset as well. So my question to you is, you were a teacher for so many years, and what was the turning point that made you want to be a happiness and abundance coach?
Nice.
When I realized, oh gosh, that's a big question actually. When I realized that I had been defrauded of what I thought was going to be my retirement fund, it was a house that I had bought with my ex, and that same week I heard teachers say they couldn't afford to save. I dove into money mindset myself, and when I started shifting and seeing everything changing, my outlook, my bank account, everything started shifting. And people started noticing that I was different. And teachers started asking me what was going on. I said, hey, I've been doing this mindset stuff. And I shared some of it with them. And I started sharing it with my teenage students. These were 16 and 17-year-old children. And so the first 5 minutes of class, I would have something on the board that was, went along with things. And they started coming in and telling me how much it changed them, things that happened to them, how they wrote down this goal with this big why and it happened. Had them writing down a list of 100 things you want to do in your lifetime that will make you happy. And I know one student came in and said, oh, yesterday when mom picked me up, she asked me, as she always does, what'd you do in school today? And I said, learn how to be happy. It's so cool. So when I left teaching, I just kept doing it for free online in a little Facebook group. And a few people started saying, you should charge for this. Teacher. And I had a few people send me money. Okay. And so because of that, I did start charging because people started saying, I know this seems to be common sense to you, Bev, but it's not. So that's what led me into it. And especially the fact that some of those teenagers that were in my class were following me online by this point in time. Excuse me. And they were reaching out to me and saying, can you help me more? Can you talk to me more? Can you tell me what to do with the situation?
I love it. Thank you, my beautiful Dr. Beverly. You can get a sip there. Beautiful girl. So I love that you start with students. That is so very important. My beautiful Rosebud.
Yeah, I wanted to say that, boy, do I wish you were my kid's teacher or even my teacher, even though, I mean, that wouldn't have worked out for ages. But, years ago, why are we not putting these in our curriculum? Why are we not empowering our children, with this? So thank you, first of all, on behalf of many parents, and I'm sure on behalf of many kids. So again, to the listening audience who's wondering, what are we talking about? This is more than just a book about making money. This is a book about shifting your entire mindset, your entire abundance of happiness and abundance, as a coach. But that abundance will attract more money. So I'm trying to figure out what questions to go on because I don't want to run out of time. There's this one, the way we think often shows up in how we push money away or if we bring money away or abundance either way. And you said this one thing is actually on page 30. It says, you don't really want to be rich. And it really made me think because people will say, yes, I want money. And then all of a sudden they'll get money from an inheritance or however. And then it's like, what am I going to do about it? What is that? And what I immediately thought of is, why do we want to be rich? And sometimes we don't want to be because of the fear of success. Because if I'm successful, that's also going to mean I'm going to be working probably more hours. I may be away from my family more. I may have to, give up certain things to put more into whatever it is I am. You may have that mindset, or you can shift it to, I want this more abundance to free up my time to be more successful so I can have more virtual assistants or different things. So it's kind of like a mindset game in a way, or shifting that you talked a little bit about. So if you can talk a little bit about how the way we think about pushing money away, or even, the fear of wanting to be rich. What exactly does that mean to you?
I think we look at being rich as this huge thing, and jet setting and traveling everywhere. Well, that's what we really want. It's not the money. But we think we have to have it all to do that. But then there's this other part of us that thinks back and remembers all those, I love Disney, but all those Disney characters that were rich. Scrooge McDuck, the Wicked Queen, Cinderella's mother. Not exactly great role models for being rich. We see it in movies. We see all these things of all these rich people, but they turn out not to be terribly nice. They're not generous. They're that mean, evil, greedy, wicked person that we don't want to be. So our brains do this whole thing of, hey, you think rich people are always mean, nasty, evil, wicked, and greedy. So I'm going to save you from that. So, oh, you just got this extra $1,000. You need to go spend it. And I was certainly guilty of that. I was a department chair and a team leader, and I would get about $1,000 at the end of the year, and I would take the entire group out to lunch, spend it all on them, and whatever was left over, I would spend it on little things they could use for the next year until I realized. And so I think we think we want to be rich, but first of all, we're not even sure what it is. So many people think being rich is being a mega billionaire or a mega millionaire. You don't need to have multiple millions of dollars to be rich.
Right.
It can be a whole lot less than that. So one of the first things is to see, look at your bills and see, how much do you need? How much do you really need? And also to look at your values. What is it that money's going to give you? Is it going to give you that freedom to travel? Is it going to give you just freedom to hire a house cleaner and a cook, or to go out to dinner once a week? What is it you want the money to give you? I knew a friend who, her main thing was nurturing her family. And when she realized that having a little extra money meant she could buy more organic foods for her children, it was amazing how the money suddenly showed up. Before it had always been, oh, I'm just, I'm buying all this stuff and I don't have money to do this. I don't have money to do that. And when she realized what her value was and she focused in on that, so every time she went to buy something, she'd go, does this help me nurture my family? And if it didn't, most of the time she didn't buy it. And so it was a simple question that she started asking herself. And again, just like all the others, it takes a couple of weeks of asking that, and then you don't have to ask anymore. It becomes just natural.
Yeah,
So
no, that's absolutely amazing. And again, that's why you need to buy this book, because it's not only about an amount. I love the way you brought up values, because quick little, how I related to it was, I was in a point in my life, I wasn't able to work. I'm living with a chronic illness, and I was seeking freedom and happiness, and I couldn't figure out how I can get that. And again, was in the mindset of lack. I can't afford, blah, blah, blah. All of a sudden, I went right to the value to say, no, what choices I'm going to make is going to bring me happiness and freedom. And that led to a vehicle showing up that we can afford. And so that was my freedom. And happiness for me was having my whole family together. And so we needed an extra row of seating to have them all together. So there we go. And again, spending on towards what you value, that goal, more than, just something frivolous, unless that's a value. So
Right.
thank you. You nailed that. That was fantastic. Howard.
So one of the overall themes coming out of the book is to be able to work smarter, not necessarily harder. And that's a very difficult discipline for many people. They take the road too hardly traveled. And you break it down into small bite-sized morsels, which I think is a real benefit of the book. And that's very, very important. I think that there's an intimidation. People associate, gains or losses with money with failure, with success. Okay. If you have a lot, you're successful. If you're not, you don't. And you're judged on that. But I want to tell you that the book was not intimidating. It was very bite sized. And I think that's the real special secret sauce that you have
Yep.
developed. And I'm going to
Yep.
give you the sunglasses for that. So,
Yep.
so that was intentional, I'm assuming, being the teacher you are.
Yes, definitely. I wanted to keep it simple so that anybody could read it, whether it was my former teenage students, current teenage students, or someone in their 40s or 50s who was like, I just don't like to read. Nice and easy.
It's beautiful. Thank you.
Thank you.
And shout out to our cover girl, okay, the famous Love Bug Gail Craft from Diamond Moments magazine. If you want to be on that magazine cover, you got to go check this issue out. It's out now. Thank you for being here, Gail, and just your support. You are amazing. I had to call her out. Sorry, Sinette.
Nice.
Thank you, my beautiful life force. Your turn, my girl.
Yeah. So I'm moving through the different. Oh boy, I've got a couple of great questions. All right. I have a power quote in the science of empowerment around excuses. And you talk about excuses are just stories. And I really love this because I think for many of us, we forget that. We think that the excuse is a belief. It even can be disguised as a value. And there's all this psychology kind of embedded in an excuse. But again, to simplify, maybe for the listening audience, how can you empower someone and almost challenge, but empower someone that's up against an excuse around money? Maybe a technique or a tool or a mindset hack that they know that they are somewhat excusing it away. They're using that excuse as a block, but it really can be rewritten. So maybe talk a little bit about that to help someone to stop the excuses.
That's a doozy of a question. I think the first thing we have to do with excuses is forgive ourselves for making the excuse, and accept that maybe it's an excuse. Even if you're not willing to say it definitely is, accept that, okay, maybe I'm making an excuse. Maybe I've created this story. What can I create instead?
Mm.
And then together we figure out what to create instead. And then I always challenge clients and friends and everybody else to try it on for a week.
Yeah.
Just a week and see how you feel differently. So every day, tell yourself this new story that negates the excuse, that pushes the excuse aside, and just see how it feels. And usually, and I like to do it in a mirror too, and everybody that's ever actually done it for the week, by the end of the week, they barely remember the old excuse.
Yeah.
Because it
I
does
love
push it aside.
Yeah, I think, again, I'm all about empowerment. So this is, there's certain areas of the book where there's such commonalities. We all know what it is. We all make excuses. And there are some real reasons, of course, with financial blocks, how we're raised, right? Money doesn't grow on trees, whatever we were taught. But I love this because it puts you in the power seat of choice. You can rewrite that language, that story. And I love that, again, that simplicity of try it on for a week, pick a new story, create a new story, write a new story, right? If you don't like it, you can always change that. But within a short amount of time, you start creating this new vernacular and you start believing like maybe that isn't so true. Maybe I can be successful. I can manifest abundance. So again, one of the empowerment messages within this book, Get Rich on Any Salary, forget even, just get rich in thought, right? Rich in release, rich in forgiveness. It really does kind of hit upon so many areas of the wealth of what you can create. So thank you. I love that answer.
Thank you. So, beautiful girls. So I love this, Laura. Excuses are creating blame. Therefore, I don't own it. I love it. And Dr. Beverly, they said, Gail said, driving is cool. I love that. Thank you so much.
I do
So
too.
I also picked up that there's a forgiveness trend in your beautiful book. So the question I cannot ask about forgiveness, but I'm going to ask you the next question on my list. You emphasize the importance of aligning freedom, financial decision with your core values. How
Mm,
can somebody identify their true values if they feel disconnected or unsure about what matters to them most?
mm. That's a good question.
Good. That is a good question. It's really easier to do if you have a second person, because to align your values, the simple question is, what's most important to me about? What's most important to me about having money? And you come up with your answer, and then you ask it again. Usually it takes about 7 times before you really get to what really is what you value. And that's why I say it's easier if a second person is there to ask you, because if you're asking it to yourself, oftentimes you'll stop early. If you force yourself to keep going until you get to the point that you go, so what else? What's important about that thing, that last thing, number 6? And you're going, nothing. Nothing's more important than that. That's it. That's your core value. Now, there are certainly lists of values that you can see everywhere, and you start making some circles and you circle them. And that's probably what are your values, but is it your core value about having money? Is it your core value about your family? And that's where the trick comes in. You just ask that question.
Mm.
I
And it
love it.
works.
I love it. I learned about this 3 times question almost 6 years ago. Well, it's now, can you believe it? The 6th of April is 6 years ago. Wow. I asked myself, why do I want to lose the weight? Yes, I want to play with my grandson Sunday. Now I've got 2 extra grandchildren, so I'm so happy. And then I said, but why do you want to leave to wait for Xander? I said, I want to run on the beach and go on a swing because the swing is for me so important. And my beautiful Dr. Beverly, when I asked my third question, okay, you want to lose to wait for Xander to go on a swing. Why? I realized I want to live. I didn't want to die. And that was my core motivation for losing or letting go of my weight. So thank you so much. That brilliance of, thank you, my beautiful life force, of asking the question, why on the question. And I only did it 3 times. You said 7 times. That's incredible. So, my beautiful Rosebud, your turn, my girl.
Yeah, there's so much that was said that I was going to say, but like always, and that's great because it's the more opportunities for people to hear it. So I just want to ask, can you lift up your book? Do you have your book with you? Show the audience right now a beautiful cover. And one of the things I wanted to point out or wanted to let everybody know is at the end of every chapter is like a summary, and then there's actionable steps that you can take. So it's not one of these books that is tough to get through and that you're reading and then you're forgetting what you're reading. I absolutely love the fact that you made that summary and then gave some actionable steps to put in place today so you can change your life, basically. So I just want to really, really highlight that in case it gets missed. But something that I absolutely I love, I'm a visual person, so I love this. So when you're talking about booking a hotel, and what kind of hotel, do you want to invest in? And what kind of hotel do you see yourself in? And you mentioned, is it a budget hotel, with that kind of musty carpet type of thing? Is it a standard hotel, more a deluxe hotel that has, the things that you really want? Or is it first class, that hotel that has it all? And it's really, what is your standards in your life, and where are you going to invest in those areas and in those standards? So can you explain a little bit more maybe about the hotel metaphor or anything you'd like to say about that?
I love that. I mean, it's so easy to tolerate things in our homes and in our lives that we wouldn't tolerate in a hotel.
Right.
That if we book a hotel and we think it's in a 5-star hotel and it turns out not to be, we know it quickly. But in our own lives, we just don't see it. And frankly, most of us, I won't say most of us, I know for teachers, for most of us, because I did share this with a couple of teachers when I first started doing it, and we all came up pretty budget. We came up very budget. But there were always a few first class things. They were usually had to do with technology. But the really cool thing is you can upgrade so easily. Mm-hmm. Don't upgrade everything at once. You upgrade the things that are important to you. I mean, if your extra bedroom that no one has used in 5 years isn't deluxe, are you in it that much? Mm-hmm. If you're not, it's okay. But your own bedroom, that might be the room you want to start upgrading. Yeah. Because where you want to be, you want your mattress, your linens to feel good. Because when they feel good, you feel good. And I mean, I just think it's so much fun to do, and you can do it in 15 minutes a day. I mean, that's one of my things about all these exercises. I try to keep things at 15 minutes a day for simplicity. Those, because especially the simple, practical things. And then when we move into meditations and clearings and all, of course, they take a little bit longer, but I'm there with you. So.
Yeah, that is fantastic, because not only is it something that you can do very quickly, it brings you joy yourself and elevates yourself, and it's a personal investment in yourself, but it radiates more than that, because if it's nice linens, you wake up feeling, like you're in that first class hotel, you walk and you talk and you act like that, and you have probably a better night's sleep. So I think that investment in yourself and investment in things around you is absolutely amazing. And the way you talked about it as hotel rooms really can be anything in your life. So that's fantastic. And I do want to also thank you for the free gift. There's a QR code. When people buy your book, you'll go ahead and see it yourself. Yeah. So Howard, over to you.
Could I throw in one more thing about that?
Oh, absolutely. Please.
The other point is that it's not about money. It's not about how much something costs. It's oftentimes about the way it makes you feel.
Yeah, absolutely.
This mug was not that expensive, but I adore Tinkerbell. So when I use it, it makes me feel fantastic. And I even tell a story about a Keurig and giving my mother a Keurig, which she absolutely hated. Her $10 coffee pot was much more first class for her than that expensive Keurig. So it's not just about money.
Dr. Beverly, this is for you. Oh, my grandson was here. Just give me 1 second.
That is fantastic. And actually, I love that point about the Keurig story, how you thought you were giving this very expensive Keurig. And we all do that, right? We want to give these expensive gifts to people. And to them, what is the value to them? What's really important to them was this $10 coffee pot, because it was amazing. So thank you for bringing that up. That was amazing. So Howard, where would you like to go with this? And I think you're muted.
Let me just unmute you, my beautiful one.
Yes. So I need to jump out for 2 minutes and back in for the speed round. So I'm going to hand it over to Laura, and I'll be right back for the speed round because I got to go prepare.
Okay. So the quick question, but very important. Many of us are aware of techniques, again, and tools, skill sets, knowledge around the world. But there's something that you mentioned in the book. Everyone pronounces it different, but the Ho'oponopono, right? The technique. And there's a lot of history behind this. The originator, all the way it was brought famous to The Secret, the movie there. But even if you do not run a spiritual, conscious, aware lifestyle, this technique is such an empowering tool just for self, let alone for anyone and everyone around you. So can you share this? It's in the book, and there's in the before and the during and the after, like everything we're talking about was so important in the book. But this technique truly is a game changer when you apply it. So can you maybe share why you put this particular technique and tool in there, and how this can really benefit the listeners, especially around gaining awareness into money and abundance?
Yeah, sure. Well, the reason I put it in there was because I did so much of it myself. I mean, I had blamed myself for money mistakes. I blamed myself for being defrauded. Because I felt like I was so, literally the word that kept coming to me back in those days was stupid, that I had done this. I had blamed myself for letting money burn a hole in my pocket and trying to prove my father right for 30 years when he said that. I blamed myself for everything. And finally, when I started to try to change things, I was just like, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry that I did this to myself. And then just about that same time as I was saying I'm sorry, I discovered Ho'oponopono. And I also went into stopping saying I'm sorry because of how powerful I am is. So I went to I apologize. And so I just started apologizing to myself, to my spirit, to my soul, to my past, and to my future self. Because I was like, I had just messed up my retirement, and so I was like, I'm apologizing for it. And I started to realize that as I did it, and as I started listening to Ho'oponopono and reciting that, I apologize. Please forgive me. I thank you. I love you. I started feeling better.
Yeah.
And I started adding an I forgive you at the end to the person who had defrauded me, because I'd always heard that when you send blessings to someone who's hurt you, things change. I'd heard that since I was a child. I hadn't necessarily done it, but I'd heard it. So when I started doing that and saying, I apologize, please forgive me, I thank you, I love you, and I forgive you, it helped. And I got to tell you, in the beginning, I could not say, I forgive you and I love you. I could say, I thank you for the lesson because I learned. But the I love you, I mean, it started out as God forgive you, God love you, because I can't. And then it became, okay, I don't want to hate you anymore. I don't feel this anger anymore. I don't want to feel this self loathing that I'm feeling because of what happened. And it slowly turned into, okay, I can still wave at you if I see you. I like you. And it just became, I love you as just any old human being. And eventually it became, I love you and I forgive you. Because what happened wasn't unforgivable. It led me to money mindset.
Yeah.
It led me to shifting my own life. So therefore, how could I not forgive him when it led me to this massive growth? And how
That's
could I
beautiful.
not forgive myself?
Yeah, again, this Hawaiian prayer, and what I love is it empowered you, and now you're empowering the world through your book. So it's a very important prayer. Thank you. Here we go. Howard Brown and paparazzi.
All right, I'll start with a couple, and then Laura, you're going to have a couple. I don't know if Rosebud you do, or even you, Sinette. So we're going to do the shared speed round. So Beverly, we're going to ask you a phrase, okay, or a word, and you're going to give us a very short answer. It could be yes, no. It could be a couple more words than that. But here we go. This is about your book, of what we took out of it. Can you save for a rainy day?
Of course, everybody can.
Why and how?
Why? Because you never know what's going to happen in life. So it's good to have that rainy day fund. I don't like to call it an emergency fund because it sounds too negative. But rainy days, and you do it a little bit at a time. It doesn't have to all happen at once. And compound interest is a wonderful thing.
And you get your book. And you
And you
get
get
your
my book.
book. That's what you do. All right, over to you, Laura.
All right. So I'm going to run through these words. All right. Here we
Okay.
go. Forgiveness.
Grace,
Oof. Worthiness.
everyone.
Mm. Money.
It's everywhere.
Values.
Core and focus.
Excuses.
Useless.
Action.
Take it
And the last one, gratitude.
always.
Oh,
Always.
Ooh, ooh, where's
no.
my glasses? Ooh,
I got goosies. Nice.
wow. Amazing. Oh, I've got goosebumps everywhere. My
Yep.
beautiful viewers, please check down below in the show notes. Not only is Dr. Beverly's connection point, her elevator pitch in the show notes, but a link to her amazing book is also there, and a synopsis of her book is also in the show notes. And then please connect with my beautiful panel as well. All the details is down below. Just go down, and click on the link below. Thank you so much. So, my beautiful Dr. Beverly, our show is almost done. So, may I ask this important question? How are you feeling right at this moment?
I'm walking on sunshine right now.
We know that song. We know
We
that
know.
song.
Yes, we share the same song.
So, Dr. Beverly and Rosebud, can you remember Shalina? That all three of us have the same song. Walking on Sunshine is our forever song, and it was totally incredible meeting more amazing people with the same favorite song. So thank you so much, my beautiful Dr. Beverly. We do have a few seconds left, 2 more minutes left actually. So Howard, I'm going to give to you. Do you have a short note or a question for beautiful Dr. Beverly?
So I think that the overall theme is really important to carry out here because you lifted yourself up and now you're showing others how to do it. So that is really the language. That's the language of the written word, of the spoken word, and the action. And that's what I'm most proud of reading this book for. It's beautiful. And I think that's what all bonds us, all of us here together. It's a beautiful thing that you show people how to do that.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I think it comes from the teaching and wanting my children to do better than everybody else.
I love it. Laura?
Yeah, again, this, when we see Get Rich, our mindset goes somewhere. But this book really has such a great formula to it. Again, the summaries, as Krista was saying, at the end of every chapter, you get, and the teaching mindset is in there, but we are all students. You give us this very simplistic yet empowering structure of how we can start thinking differently, feeling differently, taking action to create an alignment with the worthiness to get rich. And getting rich is very different for each person, as you said. And so I think it's just an empowering book. I really enjoyed it. So thank you.
Wow.
Thank
So,
you.
Krista and myself, we know that we will be able, but we will after the show quickly talk to Dr. Beverly. But, Dr. Beverly, I just have this, I've got a feeling inside my bones, and I love it because you have to put feeling in everything you do and say, and just, I love it. I love it. May I ask, will you love to have a dance with beautiful Miracle Man, Life Force, and Rosebud, and me?
I would love to. Thank you.
Thank you, my beautiful diamond beauties and my beautiful audience. Thank you for your time spending with us. Your time is valuable, and we know that we brought the action. We brought the the paparazzi today. I'm so sorry. I talked a lot of my home language, Afrikaans. I must just get back into English. So, my beautiful viewers and diamond beauties, would you love to have a dance with us? They said yes. They said yes. Here we go. Woohoo!
Walking on sunshine or dancing in the rain. Sprinkle me with fairy dust so I can fly away. Smiling at a moonbeam or squinting in the sun. Sprinkle me with fairy dust and cover me with love.
Love you. Thank you. Bye.
Bye, everybody.
Bye, everybody.